I remember this night like it happened yesterday, even though I'm 26 now, and it took place when I was 12. My parents had gone out for the night and left me at home with my 18-year-old brother, Zach. At first, I was excited. Being alone in a big house felt like freedom back then. Zach told me he was heading out with friends for a few hours and made me promise not to tell our parents. I agreed without hesitation. I trusted him, and honestly, having the place to myself sounded amazing. Once he left, the excitement slowly faded. I ended up in the den and decided, very stupidly, to watch a scary movie. It didn't take long before I realized how bad of an idea that was. I had never been home alone for this long, especially not at night. Halfway through the movie, I wasn't even scared of what was on the screen anymore. I was scared of the house itself. Every little noise felt amplified. The floors creaking, the fridge clicking on, the wind brushing against the windows. Every loud sound from the TV made me flinch. I kept looking over the back of the couch toward the half-flight of stairs, half expecting to see someone standing there. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I shut off the TV and ran upstairs like a terrified little kid, the same way you do when you turn off the lights and feel like something is right behind you. I went into the bathroom connected to my room and my parents' room and brushed my teeth as fast as I could, trying to calm myself down. After that, I went back into my room and played Call of Duty Zombies on my Xbox 360, hoping it would distract me. It worked for a while. I completely lost track of time. When the game finally ended, I was frustrated and exhausted. I decided to go to sleep. Not long after lying down, I felt the vibration of the front door closing. I assumed Zach was home. I lay there listening as someone moved around downstairs, but something felt off. Normally, he'd come straight upstairs. Instead, I heard subtle footsteps, faint thumps, sounds I couldn't quite explain. That's when my stomach dropped. I went to my window and looked outside, expecting to see Zach's car in the driveway. It wasn't there. That's when real panic set in. I didn't have a cell phone. I was 12. The only phones were downstairs, and there was no way I was leaving my room. I quietly checked my bedroom door. It was locked, but I knew the lock could be opened from the outside with a fingernail. I scanned the room and realized the only place to hide was the small crawl-in closet built into the wall. I squeezed inside, carefully shut the door behind me, and tried to calm my breathing. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe Zach parked on the side of the house. Seconds later, I heard someone trying to open my bedroom door. Then the door opened. Someone was in my room. I stayed completely still, barely breathing, listening as footsteps moved around. I could hear the floorboards creak under their weight. I heard things being shifted, dragged across the floor. Every second felt like an hour. I was convinced that at any moment, the closet door would open and I'd be dead. Eventually, the footsteps moved away. I stayed in that closet for what felt like forever, probably close to 2 hours, until I finally heard Zach calling my name. His voice sounded panicked and angry. When he walked into my room and saw me come out of the closet, he immediately yelled at me, asking what I was doing and what I'd done to his room. That's when I knew, without a doubt, it wasn't him. Once I explained everything, we searched the house together. Drawers were pulled out. Electronics were gone. TVs, gaming consoles. Someone had broken in and robbed us. Zach called the police. They took a report and told us to wait for our parents. When my parents got home around 4 a.m., my dad was furious. He hit Zach for leaving me alone and for leaving the front door unlocked. My mom hugged me and told me she was just grateful I was alive. That night stuck with me for years. Even now, I can still feel the fear of hiding in that closet, listening to someone walk around my room. When I was very young, before kindergarten, I lived with my grandparents. My parents had just separated, and my dad worked in another town. My uncle also lived with us, so I was almost never alone. We had a neighbor named David. He was friendly, always around. He drank beers with my uncle, helped my grandpa with yard work, even helped haul moose during hunting season. One night, my grandma went to bingo. My grandpa went to pick her up. He told me not to open the door for strangers. Minutes after he left, someone knocked. I asked who it was. It was David. He said he'd seen my grandpa leave and knew my uncle wasn't home. He asked to come in. I told him I wasn't allowed to open the door for strangers. He insisted he wasn't a stranger. In my child's mind, that made sense. I opened the door. He was drunk, towering over me. He grabbed my shoulders and dragged me into the kitchen. He grabbed a knife and pressed it to my stomach. He threatened me, told me to be quiet, dragged the blade across my throat. Then I heard my grandparents' truck. My grandma walked in and screamed. My grandpa charged him. David shoved me to the floor. My grandma grabbed me and shielded me as my grandpa forced David out of the house. They never called the police. I never saw David again. Years later, my grandma hinted that my grandpa may have taken care of things himself, and no one ever questioned him. Another incident happened when I was 15, during spring break in 2020. A friend named Mason begged me to let another friend, Neil, stay at my house. Neil had been acting strange, laughing randomly, saying paranoid things. The moment Neil entered my house, I knew something was wrong. He asked if all the doors were locked. Then he smiled. This eerie, toothy smile I'll never forget. In the kitchen, he reached for a knife. I stopped him. I managed to get him outside, locked the door, and called my brother. Neil was later revealed to be having drug-induced schizophrenic episodes. Mason admitted Neil had been talking about killing himself or someone else. If I hadn't been paying attention, I don't think I'd be here today. The last story happened when I was 10. My mom went grocery shopping and let me stay home. I was shooting hoops outside when I noticed someone standing in my sister's upstairs window. No one was supposed to be home. I ran inside and shouted who was there. A voice answered from upstairs. "Rad, come upstairs." It wasn't anyone I knew. I grabbed the house phone, ran outside, and called my mom. Someone was inside the house.